Hey guys, Hamsterwheel here with a new video, and today I'm doing a gear guide for protection paladins, because there's been several people asking for one, and since people really like these sort of guides, might as well put another one out. So before we begin, I'd like to say that it was kinda hard finding protection paladin gear through questing, as gear with stamina, defense rating and spell damage is hard to come by. So for some gear I resorted to quest from dungeons, and I also put an alternative for some items should you be willing to spend a bit more money or grind a bit more reputation. Also, there will be links in the video description with the corresponding quest for each item or what match you need to craft a certain item. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first item we're going to talk about is the headpiece, and for the headpiece I chose the Circle's Stalwart Helmet. I know, definitely not the greatest item, but it's all we got from questing, and those 3 sockets do allow you to either stack up on some spell damage or defense rating. However, for this item I have 2 alternatives for you to get, which are the Felsteel Helm and the Oathkeeper's Helm. The Oathkeeper's Helm is without a doubt the best of the 3, with almost all the stats a prop pally needs. The quest for the green headpiece starts with the Umberfen tribe, and the mats for both the Felsteel Helm and the Oathkeeper's Helm are in the video description. The second item on our list is the necklace, and I'm gonna go ahead and recommend the Mark of the Raven Guard. Great little necklace here, 40 stam, 17 defense rating, that will definitely help your prop paladin out. This item is obtained through the quest Brother Against Brother. Now this does mean that you have to run Sethic Halls, but it will only take you 1 run to complete, and the quest itself is completed right after the first boss, so it's a quick and easily obtainable item. Alright, for the shoulders I've chosen the War Chief's Mantle. Pretty decent with some strength, stamina, a bit of parry rating, and those 2 sockets allow you to get some more spell damage or more defense rating, so all in all it's an item worth getting. This is another item that is obtained by running a dungeon, and this time it's the Old Hillsbrad Foothills. The quest for this item starts with the quest The Caverns of Time. Okay, moving on to the cloak, I recommend the Cloak of the Valiant Defender. Now to get this cloak you do need to do an 8-part quest chain, but all the quests are easily soloable, they don't take a whole lot of time and will make you some extra money on the side, which is always nice. The quest starts with the quest The Archmage's Staff. And now for the Chestpiece. First up I'd recommend the Lost Chestplate of the Revered. A nice little item with stamina, intellect, defense rating and some spell damage. Perfect for a new prop paladin. It's also worth noting that this item is obtained by doing only 1 quest, which is Wanted Annihilator Cerberus. However, I'd also like to throw an alternative in there, which is the Vindicator's Hauberk. This is required by getting Revered with Eldor, so it's up to you to decide whether you A. want to go with Eldor and B. want to spend more time on getting Revered with that faction for this chestplate. Either way, both these items are pretty nice, so it's up to you to decide which item you want. For the bracers, I decided to go with Thaddel's Bracers. Just like the chest card, it has some pretty nice stats for prop pally, so they're definitely not a bad choice. However, you could also decide to go for the Shatari Rod Arm Guards, which have strength instead of spell damage, but a bit more defense rating and a yellow socket. However, for these blue bracers you will have to run Shadow Labs, so it'll take longer to get. The quest for the green bracers is called When the Cows Come Home, and the quest for the blue bracers start with Find Spy Token. Alright, time for the weapon. For the weapon I decided to choose the Crystalline Khopesh. Definitely not the greatest tanking weapon, but it does have some defense rating to get you closer to defense cap, and with some stamina and a pretty fast attack speed, it's not too bad. However, a main hand with a lot of spell damage is obviously better for prop paladins, as more spell damage means more threat generation, so as an alternative I decided to throw in the Continuum Blade. As you can see, this item is way better for a prop paladin, but it does require you to get Revered with the Keepers of Time, so it is a bigger time investment. However, getting Revered with the Keepers of Time isn't really that hard. If you follow the complete quest chain in the Caverns of Time that will take you through Old Hillsbrad Foothills and the Black Morass, you should be able to be past Honored Reputation in no time, so it's not like it'll take you ages to get there. Again, one item is much quicker to obtain and will get the job done for now, and the other is much better but takes more time to get. It's up to you which one you want to go for. The quest for the first weapon is called Wanted During the Hungerer. but in order to obtain this you will need to complete both quests on the wanted board in either Garadar or Talar, depending on your faction. So now it's time for the shield. First up we have this one from questing, which is the Bloodforged Guard. Not too shabby, it's got some decent stamina and a bit of strength and agility, so it'll get the job done. I will throw in an alternative here, which is the Shield of the Wayward Footman. Now this thing is better considering it has defense rating and some shield block rating, but it is a BOE item, so you have to get this from the auction house, and it really depends on how expensive this item is on your server. I'd recommend to check the auction house on your server, and if this item is on there for dirt cheap, then definitely get this one. If it isn't, then just roll with the green one for the time being. The quest for the green shield starts with the quest Besieged for both Horde and Alliance. Alright, moving on to the Libram. Unfortunately there's barely any choice here, so we're just gonna go with the Libram of Racking. Definitely not the greatest item, but that extra damage to Holy Wrath and Exorcism could prove to be somewhat useful in dungeons where there's undead mobs. You'll only have to do one quest for this item, which is called Colossal Menace. And now it's time to get some trinkets. The two trinkets I will recommend are the Regal Protectorate and Dabiri's Enigma. As you can see, they have a decent amount of defense rating, and if you get both of them, you'll have a total of 56 extra defense rating, which is definitely not too shabby. The cooldowns of increased block rating and increased health are also quite handy during tricky pulls and boss fights. The quest for the first trinket starts way at the beginning of the Burning Crusade content with Through the Dark Portal for both Horde and Alliance. The second trinket is obtained by doing the quest chain that starts with the quest Recipe for Destruction. Alright, let's talk about some rings for our prop Paladin. The first two rings I will recommend are the Wind Trader's Band and the Ring of the Stonebark. Both rings have a decent amount of stamina and some defense rating, so they'll definitely come in handy. The quest for the Wind Trader's Band starts with dealing with the foreman, and the quest for Ring of the Stonebark starts with an item called the Orb of the Grishna. So for the rings I do have two alternatives here, which are the Heavy Adamantite Ring and the Black Pearl. Both of these rings have more stamina, and the Black Pearl has a decent amount of spell damage for more threat building. However, these rings do require a jewel crafter, or you'll have to resort to the auction house, so again it's up to you if you want to get these. The mats of these rings are in the video description. Alright, we're almost there, just 4 items to go. Time for some boots, and for this item I went with the Ascendant's Boots. A great little starter item for a prop Paladin due to the stamina, defense rating, block value, and those 2 sockets, which give you the option for a bit more spell damage. This item starts with an item called the Partially Digested Hand. Let's check out some leg guards for our prop Paladin, and my first recommendation are the Shatari Vindicator's leg plates. Not exactly the greatest item as it's lacking defense rating or anything like that, but it does have a decent amount of stamina and some spell damage. However, if you're willing to lay down some gold for better leg guards, then definitely try to get your hands on the Felsteel Leggings. Like the Felsteel Helm, it's got a nice amount of stamina and defense rating, and offers a lot of flexibility with those 3 sockets. The quest for the Shatari Vindicator's leg plates starts with a quest called An Improper Burial, and the mats for the Felsteel Leggings are in the description. Moving on to the belt, and for this item slot I've chosen the Star Caller's Plated Belt. It has great stats considering it's a green item, and it'll definitely help you become less squishy. The quest for this item is called Arconus the Insatiable. Starting with the Spiritualist Gauntlets. Again, a pretty decent green item which will only require you to do one quest, which is called A Fate Worse Than Death. Now for the 2 alternatives I have the Felsteel Gloves, which again are pretty darn nice and have to be crafted by a blacksmith or picked up on the auction house, and the Gauntlets of the Chosen, so if you happen to have gone Scryers, you can get to Revered and pick these up, as they're not too shabby if I say so myself. As always, the mats for the Felsteel Gloves will be in the video description. And there you have it folks, a complete list of items with a bunch of alternatives thrown in there. I hope I was able to help you guys gear up your protection Paladin and make him a little bit less squishy. If you follow the items on this list, you should be able to jump right into tanking normal level 70 dungeons and get started on tanking like a boss. If you have any other recommendations for items, then please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamsterwheel, and have a good one.